So these sketches are also for my Fantastic Beasts sketchbook. They are unicorns and they're pretty much the standard horse with a horn type of unicorn. The only thing unique, I'd say, it's the almost golden color and the markings on the body, which you can see depending on the light. I used my screenshots from the Hogwarts Legacy game as reference, like always. This entire sketchbook is just based on the animals from the Hogwarts Legacy video game, and therefore the Harry Potter universe. But they're just the ones that appear in the game. I'm still using gouache for this, and I'm happy that I've actually gone through a few of these gouache paints already. It's good news. Also, I drew this on my damaged Bristol papers, just like the previous ones as well. I am using a lot of greens and yellows. They are supposed to be on this prairie landscape with a lot of greens, and since they are very light yellow in general, I wanted the color of the environment to reflect or to spill on them. I'm also trying to portray the markings on the body really lightly, since you can only see them when the light hits a certain way. I also thought of using color pencils for the details. Normally I love unicorns, but the medieval type of unicorns. Not the modern ones, where people draw them like pooping rainbows or something. I like more the ones drawn during the medieval times, like they used to be drawn surrounded by plants and other animals. In the case of Harry Potter, I do like them, but when I compare them to the Thestrals, I just prefer to paint the Thestrals. I like that they have that creepy element to them. And here we have the first of the unicorns completed. I like the sketchiness from the color pencils mixed with the gouache. I think it works well and it gives the bright colors too. Starting with the second one. Looking at the sketch now, maybe the head is very small compared to the body. I am using the same colors of gouache for this one. All the screenshots I'm using are from the same landscape, so I just kept it that way. I could have gone in the game and looked for different light preferences, but I lost my save file at the time I was painting this, so I'm just going by the screenshots I had available at the moment. But now that I have restarted the game, if I need to go back and take some different screenshots, I can do it. Maybe I'll paint some in the night light, just to fill a few more pages. We'll see. Even though unicorns are one of my favorite mythological creatures, I wasn't planning on painting them for the sketchbook. But I still have so many pages left that I decided to include them. Sometimes I use the turquoise green on the color pencils to emphasize the shadows. It's very evident on this sketch. I really like the look it gives because it makes the orange tones on the unicorn stand out. They complement each other, like it makes the oranges seem brighter. A lot of the color pencils I use are also watercolor pencils. If I added water, I could blend them, but I prefer to use them like regular color pencils for now. I just like their color and their texture like this. This next sketch is just a portrait, still using the same color palette. I kinda liked the sketch, I just think, when I look at it, it's like maybe the proportions are a bit wonky. I used a lot of light and bright yellows on the paintings, and maybe it wasn't the best idea for the camera, because in some shots it seems to struggle with the brightness. But they look fine in real life. At least I think they look fine. Something I did for this sketch though is using more orange than the previous ones. There's still a bit of green in the background to do a nice contrast. Also, when I started the details with the color pencils, I used the blue-green colors too. I liked the result on the last one, so I wanted to recreate it in this one. I tried to make it more exaggerated though. And I do like the end result. It's just the muscle area of the horse that looks like it has some proportions issue. Like the place where the nostrils are. I think that's what you call it, a muscle. But other than that, I really love how the colors and the textures came out. Next, we have a full body unicorn. I like this one more than the first unicorn. The first one had a bit of an awkward pose. It looked a bit pudgy for an unicorn. I started by adding the green grass first, and then I added the yellow on the background. And then the camera went crazy because of the brightness. Maybe it's also my skin color with that yellow that makes the camera go insane. Anyway, if you see the drawing, it's very basic. I feel like I could have gone further by mapping where the shadows could go. I decided instead to just do it on the painting. I tried to portray the shadows with the gouache by using darker values for this one, and trying to use more opaque paint. I think it worked out well, surprisingly, because these are still the low quality gouaches that tend not to cover the surface too well. I also put some pastel green color on the shadows to represent the color of the grass reflecting on the unicorn's body, which I think it came out quite nice. And then I added details with the color pencils. And I also used them to emphasize some shade with the hatching. Here's the finished sketch, and it's one of my favorites. Now moving on to the final one. Another portrait. I like this portrait more than the other as well. Starting with a lot of orange with gouache and bright yellow as well. I went just warm toned for this one. I didn't include any green on the paint, just because I was experimenting. I don't really plan sketches that much. I like to use them mostly to experiment with paintings and colors. I don't mind deviating from the references either. Also, I painted all of them in one day, which is surprising because usually it takes me a few days to record any painting. I also used the color pencils on this one. I like that they add definition, but it's not too stark. If I had used black ink, for example, I feel like it would have taken from the softness of the sketch, if that makes sense. And even though I didn't use green paint, I did use green color pencil for some lines. It is dark, but it also complements the orange tones, so I felt it was a nice look on the sketch. And here's the finished sketch. Also one of my favorites from this video. Here we have all of them. I had to put some objects on top to hold them in place because the paper is bending. This one is definitely my favorite one. And then this one too. And here they are added to my sketchbook. They look good in my humble opinion. And I used the green washi tape to complement their orange color.